This Excel demonstration is going to go through using one of the functions under the data analysis tools. So we're going to use the descriptive statistics function underneath the data analysis tools. If you haven't already downloaded the data analysis tool pack, you'll want to make sure that you download that before you start this video. If you need to, you can go back and look at the video on how to download the data analysis tool pack. So what we want to do is we're going to use this command. I'm going to use it in the workbook called Excel Demonstrations Store A and Store B Data. So this is the information, this is the data that we've been using for a while. And I've got the store A price and I've got the store B price, and that's under my tab in my Excel workbook called raw data. So I want to get a summary, so I want to summarize this information with some statistics. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick the data analysis, and I'm going into these tools, and so here's the analysis tools. Everything that's here is in alphabetical order, and I'm going to pick descriptive statistics. Then I'm coming over here to the right and I'm picking OK. The input range is what data do I want to create this summary information on that I want to do these descriptive statistics. So I'm going to pick store A. I'm coming over here and I'm highlighting my label store A because I want the label to come along with this table that's going to get generated. And I'm going to highlight all the way down, picking up all 30 pieces of data. I want to click on the box that says labels in the first row because it's telling us that store A price is actually a label, and it'll come through and it'll make it a label in my summary table. I'm sending mine as far as the output options to a new worksheet. I do that because I'm always afraid that I'm going to write over something that I might need in this worksheet, and so I send it to a new worksheet. We'll also click on summary statistics because that's going to be the table that it generates. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick OK. So notice, so it made a new sheet. My sheet's name is actually sheet 9. And I'm going to expand this just so that we can see what kind of summary statistics it gives us. And so here's your summary. I get the mean, standard error, median, mode, standard deviation, sample variance, kurtosis, skewness, range, minimum, maximum, sum, and count. So some of these we haven't used, and some of them we won't use in this introductory class, but this is everything that Excel gives you when you run descriptive statistics. Next thing that we want to talk about, and we'll talk about what commands are behind this information, the mean and the median and everything, when we look at that Excel DS formulas tab. But before we do that, let's talk about doing this data analysis again and doing these descriptive statistics on both sets of data, so both store A and store B. So I'm going to delete this worksheet. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to pick data analysis again, descriptive statistics. And then this time I'm going to pick both store A and store B, and I'm going to highlight this so that I can see these in comparison with one another. So I'm going to click OK. It's getting sent to a new worksheet. Click OK. I'm going to expand these so that we can see them side by side. So the store A and the store B. So now I've got store A, store B. I've got a summary table of the descriptive statistics for my two sets of data sitting side by side in this worksheet. So now let's examine the Excel DS formulas. So what's going on behind where it says mean, behind where it says standard error? So that's what I've got created here in the Excel DS formulas. So I went back, and this is for store A, and this is the information that came out of our summary table for all of these different pieces of descriptive statistics. So for the mean, so what happens with Excel is it's running all of these function commands that we've looked at or that we can do by inserting these functions on our data, and it's just putting them in this nice summary table. So over here I put the commands of what Excel is doing in the background when it gives us this number for the mean, when it gives us this number for the standard error. So let's talk about the functions that, like I said, are sitting in the background here. So average, the average is going and it's taking the raw data, so it's going out to the raw data tab, and it's calculating the arithmetic mean for the items that are sitting in B3 to B32. Median is using the median command, going back out into that worksheet that's called raw data and doing the same thing with those items from B3 to B32. Standard deviation is a sample standard deviation. Variance is a sample variance. There's actually a command in Excel for kurtosis. There's another command in Excel for skewness. The minimum, so it's finding the minimum value, the maximum value. It's summing all of the values using the sum command. And the last one is calculating N. So when it's doing count, it's going through and it's counting how many items are in my selection, and so it's calculating N, and in our case N is 30. So these are all done with the commands, the functions that we've seen and we've been exposed to in Excel. The other ones that are in here are just some calculations. The first one is a standard error. We haven't seen this vocab word yet, but the standard error is actually taking the standard deviation, which is sitting here in B7, and it's dividing it by the square root of N. So the square root of B15. So that's the standard error. The range is taking the maximum from B13, and it's subtracting the minimum in B12, and it's coming up with the range of the data. So I thought it would be good if you could see the commands and what Excel is doing when all of a sudden you get this summary table that gives us everything for descriptive statistics. So the one thing that you want to keep in mind if you're using this command is the fact that the standard deviation and the variance are both samples. So these would not be correct if your data was an entire population. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're using the data analysis tool pack and using it to create this table for descriptive statistics.